Plan to do a sundial lab with you today, but as you can see, it is not sunny outside. You have to have a sunshiny day to do sundial. So the next sunny day that we have this week, we're going to go outside and I'm going to show you how to make a sundial and how you can use sundial to tell the time of day depending on where the sun is in the sky and where it's throwing shadows. But we're going to go ahead and get started in our lesson 3. Turn my music down. Today, because I promised you guys we are going to make parachutes this year, and we are going to get into that and do that this week, okay? But today, to get us started, let's think back to Paolo's parachute mission, the book we read at the very beginning of the unit. And in that book, what problem did Paolo need to solve? What was his problem, Isabella?
Get the fruit out of the tree without breaking.
Yep, he needed to get the fruit out of the tree without breaking it, right? And what technology did he use to get the cuckoo out of the tree?
A parachute.
He used a parachute, exactly. So, we know that parachutes can be used to slow things down. They designed a parachute that would allow the cuckoo to slowly drift down to the ground. So when you're using a parachute, you're trying to increase drag or air resistance. So what you're going to do in this lesson is you're going to work as aerospace engineers to design a parachute to work on a planet with an atmosphere thinner than Earth's. So what do we need to know? Okay? We need to know how big our load is going to be, like what's going to be on the bottom of our parachute. We need to know how big to make our canopy size, which is the top part. We're going to need to know how long to make our suspension lines. Okay, so those are all things that you're going to have to test out when you are creating your parachute. So what we're going to investigate today is how did the thickness of an atmosphere and the design of a parachute affect the speed of a falling parachute. Okay, so are all atmospheres the same? No, because when I handed out those planet cards the other day, some of you
I
have...
have a quick announcement. The junior high volleyball game tonight has been canceled. Junior high volleyball canceled.
Some of you had an atmosphere that was thinner than Earth, and some of you had an atmosphere that are thicker than Earth. Okay? So that plays into when an aerospace engineer is trying to design a parachute, they can't go to these planets, but they have to use a model to model the atmosphere of that planet that they're going to. Okay? Alright, so that's what I'm going to do back here. I've got 2 little canisters right back there where Lucas is. Okay? You can see one has nothing in it, just air, and then the other has water. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 golf balls into the canisters and I'm going to drop them at the same time. Okay? The weight of the golf balls is the same. Everything's the same except for what's inside the canister. Okay? Let's make a prediction about which one you think is going to fall slower. The one with the air or the one with the water? What do you think, Eli?
The water.
The one with the water. Why do you think the one with the water?
Because it'll slow it down because there's something in it.
Okay. Do we agree? Okay, we agree. So that's our prediction. We think the one with the water will fall slower than the one with the air. So we'll see. All right, please, I'm going to switch spots with you. Yes. What now? Yes. So if it falls slower, that means that atmosphere has more drag. Okay. Oh, I forgot my label. Let me pick it up. Okay, so I've got 2 golf balls. Alright, I've got 2 canisters. I'll turn this one around. You can see there's a mark on both. So that's where I'm going to... I can't drop it from there. I guess I'll just drop it from the top right here. Alright, so we think this one with the water is going to fall slower. So let's see. What do you think? Yep. Okay. So we could say that this one has more drag, right? Alright, let me go get my ladle to get the golf ball out. So what atmosphere do you think the water represents or models? Thick or thin? Thick. And then this one?
Thin.
Thin. Good. Grab my ladle so I can get that out without getting my arm wet.
And spilling it.
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect size.
Okay. So if you remember in the story when they were talking about atmosphere, Paolo and his friend, Paolo was trying to explain what atmosphere was, and it said atmosphere is all around us, and it's made up of stuff, right? That's kind of how he explained it. So I'm going to mix in some food coloring there. And we're going to watch and observe how the air moves around the golf ball this time as it's dropped in this thicker atmosphere. See if you can tell what the water does. So imagine this is something falling through space and it's going through the atmosphere. It's hard to see, but it kind of pushes things out of the way as it falls. So if something's falling through space, it's going to push away what's in its way, okay? And it's going to create more drag as it's falling through that thick atmosphere.
It looks so
Kinda hard to
big.
see. That if I put something in there that would float, possibly. Okay, I'm gonna switch places with you again. All right, so these were our models. Our model of the center atmosphere had nothing in the canister. Drop the golf ball, it fell very fast. Okay. Our water model, the thicker atmosphere, fell slower because it had to push all of those things, the water molecules and everything, out of the way as it fell. All right, so how did the thickness of an atmosphere in the design of a parachute affect the speed of a falling parachute? Okay, so is a parachute going to fall more slowly in a thick or a thin atmosphere?
Thin.
Thick, good, because that air resistance, that drag is going to slow it down. Parachutes fall more slowly in a thick atmosphere. Okay, so on the flip side of that, parachutes will fall more quickly in a thin atmosphere. Okay? So aerospace engineers would have to come up with a way to model that and test it before they were actually able to send their spacecraft out with a parachute to make sure that it's going to work, depending on what planet they're going to. Okay? Right, so tomorrow, actually, we're going to use it tomorrow. Wednesday, we'll actually start getting out our supplies and start building our parachutes. Some of you will build your parachutes, you'll test different canopy sizes. Some of you will test different suspension line lengths. And then some of you will test different canopy materials. So you'll make different parachutes made out of materials. So it usually takes 1 day to build them, and then we take another day to actually go in the gym. We usually go in the gym and test them and drop them from that second balcony. And we use a stopwatch to time them and see which one falls the slope. I think the first time we observed to see which one falls the slowest, the second slowest, and then the third slowest. So we test all those variables and then record them on our sheets. Yes?
What do you use as the load whenever you
It's a binder clip. Yeah, that stays the same for everybody, so that's a constant. But then the variables that we change are canopy size, canopy material, and suspension length. Hayden?
Oh, what about Wednesdays that we're doing this? What we have a meeting about that?
I thought we only had it every other month.
Enrichment?
Yeah, I thought we had it every other month.
They have enrichment Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh, yeah.
That's 4-H. That's 4-H every month.
Yeah, we have 4-H one time a month.
When's the next one? Because I'm ready.
What if it's on a Friday? What about it?
I think I was gonna finish this up for today. Today's lesson was pretty quick. Some of you have been asking about 4-H and when we're gonna do the posters. We are gonna start on those. I don't know if it'll be this week or next week, but we've got until October 30th to get those done.
What do we?
But I have to send my Insta kits back on the 10th. So I'm trying to get through this parachute unit so you have time to make your parachutes and drop them and do all the fun things before I have to send them back. So we'll probably try to get through this parachute unit and then we'll do the posters. So it may still be a couple more weeks on the 4-H posters, but still keep bringing those poster boards in and we'll have them ready to go when I am ready to do that with you guys. Yes?
I just got back in here, so I don't know what that is.
Okay. I made a video and I'm gonna post it on the science page so you can go back and watch it, but it wasn't anything you had to fill out or take for a grade, but you can go back and watch.
Do I need to stop now?
What are we doing on